Welcome, everybody. So glad to have you here. Nice crowd today. And let me show myself. Show yourself. Here I am. Good to see you. Happy Friday. It is April 23rd here in the year 2021. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I really appreciate you making a minute to come hang with me today. I plan to make great use of your time. I want to hear from you today. If you have a best thing to share, then I would love to have you come on camera with me, with camera and microphone. If you're ready, if you are what we call live mic ready to be present with me, I would love to ask you a simple question. I will say to you, what's the best thing you've learned recently? And we have a little format for this. And this is a great little format you can use whenever you want to make a video, or even you could just use this as a text post if you wanted, just to share something cool and to help your engagement and help for us freelancers, exemplify your expertise. And so it goes like this. Best thing I learned recently was this. You describe it with a couple words. It's like a title, like a headline. Then you cite the source. I learned it from a book I read called Popp. And then you say why it was particularly relevant to you. Because I'm in a situation where this is happening and I needed problem solved. And then you talk a little bit about how you applied it. And then you simply wrap up with an if-then statement. Great way to wrap up anything when you feel like, how do I get out of this little speech I'm giving here? You just simply say, so if you're dealing with wondering how to end a video, then do what I do and think in advance what I want to say to impart advice to the person watching this video, and then you'll know when to stop, right? Something like that. So if you're in this situation, then summarize what you've just taught us, and that's it. Makes sense? Really cool, really fun. And again, don't worry about getting that perfect. I just like to give you that formula because it's really proven and works well, and it's great for engagement. So you can use that anytime you want to make a video. And today, I'd love for you to follow loosely that format in about 2 minutes, by the way. We do these in about 2 minutes. And people nail these all the time. And it's just really fun to see. So Angie's got a best thing. Ooh, Michelle Popp has the best thing. Alix has the best thing. Hi, Rachel Kraft is here. Awesome. Yes, it's like a little speech class, and it's very helpful. So, great. So we've got some, and we'll get those on, and we'll have a good time. We're also going to talk today with Cindy Childress, our great friend here at Copy Chief, longtime member and not first-time caller. Cindy is running her workshop right now, Success Story, and we're going to talk to Cindy. If you don't know, Cindy Childress is a renowned, sought-after ghost writer for big name authors that we can't even say because of NDAs. She also teaches writing, and specifically how the thing that's most relevant to us as freelancers is how to tell the stories for yourself or your clients that are going to make the biggest impact. Cindy's, through her years of writing, not only books, but marketing material for her clients, knows exactly which stories make the biggest impact. I believe today she's going to share one of those with us. And we're going to hear a little bit more about Cindy's, because we're inside the biz here together, a little bit about Cindy's launch and how her workshop that she's doing. And she's going to give us some, insight that you can relate to about how she's been promoting it. So that's going to be super cool. Awesome. All right. So it's great to have everybody here. A real quick thing. I'll just share a little bit of insight. What did Kev do this morning? I had a cool call just 1 hour ago with a very famous author again, I don't want to say the name, and I'll tell you why, because what we're going to end up doing together is exclusive for our members in Copy Chief. But essentially, this person was introduced to me because he has a large company where they help experts give amazing, create amazing content and deliver that content, on stages, on videos and whatnot. And they need copywriters. And so I get this a lot. I'm happy to be known as the person to go to when you need a copywriter. And it's very interesting. We're talking about being live mic ready and kind of knowing your talking points. When you meet with somebody and all you know is one thing about each other, in this case, I know a lot more about this person than they know about me, because they are pretty famous. And but what I don't know, and they just know that I can help them fill these copywriting roles. But what I don't know about this person before I meet with them is how skilled are they at working with contractors, and specifically copywriters, right? This is something that you probably know. We spend a lot of time focused on coaching, thinking about inside of Copy Chief. Angie, Colee, and I have traveled many miles down this road, working with different clients to help them solve their copywriting needs. Rachel Mazza and I are now doing that very effectively, meeting with, big companies who, and so what we're looking to learn is, regardless of anybody's other credentials, all I care about on that call is showing up, looking together, professional, being able to describe in as sort of few words as possible who I am, what we do, why, how we do it is different than how anybody else does it, and how we can uniquely solve their problem. What I want to get from them is how together is this person, and how are they thinking about working with copywriters? Have they done this before? Have they ever worked with a copywriter? Are they just the same thing you're looking for when you get on a client call, which is, what's your intention? Do you even understand what you need, what your intention should be? Is the first question you're asking, how much do I need to pay you to get this copy done? If that's their one and only question, it's a little scary, depending on where you are in your career. And if, sometimes it is just transactional, but that's never our intent. What we're hoping to find is a client that we can really serve in a unique way, and help them understand how we can serve them in a unique way, so that a relationship forms in untold riches, abound from the work you do together, right? Anyway, so I was just thinking about that in the context of what we say when we mean by being live mic ready. It means like being really comfortable with the camera, with the mic, knowing that your settings are correct, having something of a background together that looks appropriately designed yet lived in. You're not making, it's not your master class, but so all those things, just something to consider if you're a freelancer, because these days, as you know, Zoom is the new reality. This is the new phone call, right? Very rarely are you going to use only email or only voice to connect with a worthy client. You're probably going to do this. You're going to look at each other on video. And so making sure that you've got your stuff together is important. By the way, it's interesting. I read a stat. I can't cite the stat, so I shouldn't say I read a stat. I read a fact that plastic surgery is skyrocketed. the amount of people having plastic surgery because they're looking at themselves all the time. We didn't know how we looked before when we were just on the phone or, through email. We can look however we want, but you're on these Zoom calls at any level, whether you work in a company or whatever. And you're just going, oh my goodness, like, look, you got to do something about, you got to lift this right here. What are we doing? Why do I look angry when I'm thinking? I'm really happy right now, but I look angry, So it's just interesting that plastic surgery makes total sense, but it just goes back to that concept of that's the new reality we're in, is that, how's your frame? How's your frame doing? Is it all right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should represent, you and how you want to show up and be thought of. So, hey, Arnold, good to see you, my man. Yeah, millennials are doing Botox, says Chrissy. Isn't that something? Millennials. Well, what's the top age range of millennials now? Is it 40 yet? I think it's still mid-30s or something, right? Yeah, they're 40 now. Okay. Yeah, that's too early to be injecting poison in your face. My goodness. All right, so let's get real quick. I also want to tell you something with a bit of urgency, that there are just a few spots remaining for RFL 11, Real Free Life. My signature freelancer coaching program kicks off, Monday. Very exciting. So I am teaching this live, probably for the last time, meaning you'll always be able to have me as a coach in some form. That is my mission, to help as many freelancers as I can do better work, do more inspired work, wake up loving what they see on their calendar. And that means connecting with the right people. And so I'll never stop being in the trenches with select people who want that service from me. But when it comes to what we teach, we've really nailed it with the curriculum. And so just like we did with Escape Velocity, which is our program for brand new freelancers who are just trying to sort of prove the model and get booked, we're now doing with Real Free Life, which is more for a little more advanced freelancers who have proven the model. They're getting paid consistently, but they're starting to burn out. They're starting to wonder, oh my God, did I just create a really crappy job for myself? Like, maybe the cubicle wasn't so bad because at least I could leave it. Now I've created my own cubicle and it never closes. This isn't good. And, how to step out as an expert, how to be an authority, how to command respect and top dollar, these things. This is what we do in Real Free Life over 8 weeks. It's an amazing program, and the results are incredible. So if you go to, you can see the details, copychief.com/RFL, and see all the details about that. I'm teaching the modules live because I'm updating them, optimizing them with all the latest stuff. What's going on in the industry? What do you need to know to be the right kind of expert for the best kind of client? And then we're going to have those produced, and the training will now be evergreen for at least a year or so. And I'll only be doing the live coaching. So if you want the fullness of what RFL is, come in, join an 8-week adventure with peers, with 30 other people just like you who are on the same mission, supporting each other, helping each other, being assigned a coach, an amazing coach like Angie, Colee, and like Melanie Warren and Lolita and the whole support staff. It's just amazing. Like, if you want to finally take a course, go through a program where we will not let you not succeed. We will not let you not finish. If you're saying, man, I cannot do one more thing that sounds like it's what I need and be left to my own devices and then have it sit on my hard drive. I get the pain of sort of wasting more money and letting yourself down by not using the stuff, right? We all have done that. And so in our coaching programs in RFL, we just don't let that happen to you. So if you're really ready to make a change in your business and have it start working for you, I promise you, you're going to be blown away with what you experience in RFL. So head on over there, copychief.com/RFL if you think it's for you, and make sure you become one of those 30 people that set sail Monday on this amazing adventure. First live module is Wednesday, and we'll get you settled into the private forum and assign you a coach and give you some bonus trainings to get you ready to go. It's really cool. You need about 3 to 5 hours a week that you can put towards it. You just need to be on a call to get the training or watch the replay that goes up the next day, and give yourself a little space, maybe Saturday morning or something, to do a couple of assignments. And the assignments are not just busy work. There's no fluff in this, man. It'll be stuff that you'll not only, bit of homework that you will now give you an asset that you'll use in your business to grow your authority, to exemplify your authority, and start, defining your bat signal to the industry. And by the way, that call I was on this morning, interesting, right? Because this person has been looking all over for copywriters and has just no idea. It's like, where are good copywriters who understand direct response? And asked somebody on his team who knows me, and said, oh, it's Kevin Rogers. That's the guy. And so that's a bat signal that I have, because I am passionate about and talk about and write about and teach about how to make these connections. And so she knew exactly who to go to, right? So it happens very organically if you just stay in your passion zone, right? All right. So let's jump into some best things and hear a voice other than mine for a minute here. Let's start with Alix, our great friend Alix Penning. And Alix always shares great best things. Let's see what's going on. Hello, Alix.
Hello, Kevin. How are you?
I am great. Did I say she? If I did, I'm sorry.
You did.
It's okay. They always share great best things.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm practicing my radio voice. Can you hear it now? This is my voice. This is the voice that gets me called Delilah.
I love Delilah.
That's the laugh that my wife gives that gets me called crazy sometimes.
See, when you can't see her back there.
I know, right? So I'm 2/3 of live mic ready, but there isn't a whole lot I can do with my backdrop. So
no, you look good.
So the best thing that I learned recently is a rephrase of something that I like to say, but it is a lot more instantly gettable, which makes it better. So the best thing that I've learned recently is that to a 4th grader, a 5th grader is an expert. And what that means, there she is again. What that means is that you are an expert. You might not own it quite as much as you deserve to, but you are an expert. I got this from Dana Abraham. I'm not sure how many of you know about Calm the Chaos and Conquer and Thrive. It's life coaching stuff. So, but the way she says is that, everybody has something to teach. Everybody has something to give. You only need to reach one other person to be considered an expert. So if you are unsure about whether or not you have something worthwhile to share with the world, you turtle so hard when I use voices, man. I love it.
I love it. It's so funny.
So if you are unsure about sharing what you have with the world, remember there's somebody out there who needs the information you have. And to a 4th grader, a fifth grader is an expert.
I love it. That is fantastic. Thank you, Alix.
Thank you, Kevin.
I'm going to let it close because did you see how perfect that summary was? A great lesson, cited the source, gave some context, empowered us with a frame to think of our expertise through. Awesome, Alix. Thank you. And so true. Another analogy I love is that kind of like I talked about earlier about when I get on a call with somebody who wants a copywriter, I don't care about all the other stuff. I'm just looking through this frame of, do they know what they're doing? Are they worthy of me introducing writers to them? Right. And I think of always like this situation where sometimes you're an expert in something you didn't ever think of yourself as an expert in, or sign up to be an expert in. A great example of that is giving directions. A stranger in your town who approaches you to ask where something is, right? Now you are the best expert they could have in that moment, because number one, you're willing to help them. And then, and number two, you have the information they need. So then it becomes about how much confidence can you instill in them about following your directions based on how you give them, right? So we all have people in our lives, and think about the people closest to you giving directions. I know people who I go, oh God, I feel bad for anybody who would ask that person for directions, because they can't say more than 4 words without interrupting themselves and giving other thoughts. And that's like the worst, when you're just trying to go, it's 4 blocks over, you look for this and you'll see it. It's right next to there. You can park on the street. Great. Thank you. Right. They go, oh, well, I'm pretty sure it's still, is that the old location, or did they haven't moved it yet? They're talking about moving it. Okay. Best. And you're just like, oh God, especially if you're late and you're trying to get there. So think of the simple context of, how would you give directions to a stranger who is harried and late and scared and lost and doesn't know anything about the place they're in that's so familiar to you, right? And just think about a 5th grader giving a 4th grader instructions on how to play a game on the playground. And it all comes down to those few elements. That's awesome. Really good, Alix. Thank you for that. All right, let's Kay Pompano, are you here to give a best thing? I see your hand raised. I want to make sure I'm bringing you on for the right reason. If you have a best thing, would happily meet you and hear your best thing, but let me know in the chat if that's, oh no, you put your hand down. Okay. Yeah, sometimes there's an accidental hand raise. I've done that before where somebody accidentally raises their hand and I'm like, come on. And they're like, I don't, what am we, who? So I'm gonna do it to you. Michelle Popp. Oh, this is gonna be good too. I love my natural teachers. It's so great to encounter people who have so much to share. Hi, Michelle. About to see another version of somebody who is passionate about teaching and gives very clear info. So no pressure, Michelle, but I know you're about to kill this. Except I'm gonna unmute you though. Sorry, you gotta unmute. Good start.
Yeah. Now that you can hear me, you don't know what I was really saying. The best thing that I learned was actually this morning. I learned to think of Facebook ads as a much broader unit than I was thinking of them before. And I learned this actually by reaching out to Mike Bernard, because we all know how great he is at ads. And so this is really, really relevant to me because I coach a lot of people in copy. So I'm constantly getting people giving me ad copy to critique. So last month on the coaching call that I had done, I was like, guys, I need headlines. You have to give headlines if you want your copy critique, like a whole package here. And so this month they all did headlines, and I'm like, yes, let's take it to the next level. I want the link to your landing page, because, and this blew people's mind, because they're like, Facebook checks our links. They look at our landing page like, yeah, they want to know that it's the same thing. And they want to know that you're not going to like redirect to some site that's going to make Facebook look really bad in the eyes of the user. So that landing page is really important. But the thing that I learned today from Mike that blew my mind was that the first email that they get afterward should also be part of that unit and package when you're thinking of your ads. And I hadn't considered that as part of your ad before. So if you're a copywriter looking to package up your stuff and maybe productize something, if you include landing pages and some emails with your Facebook ads, you have a much bigger product that's going to get better results.
So good. Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle Popp, everybody. Fantastic. Again, I like to, sometimes I start talking because I love to talk to people, and I don't want to dilute the awesomeness of that perfect little container. And by the way, a cool thing you can do is grab, share that you were an expert in this platform. That's another cool authority thing. And you could say to somebody, go to this exact minute where I share my best thing about, right? So cool. And, you're right, Michelle. I didn't know that before Mike shared that. Mike runs our Facebook ads, which is a real privilege for us. Yeah, I didn't know that Facebook will actually wants to see your first email and how are you communicating with people. Here's the number one thing to know about this is going to be the screenshot for this, about Facebook's algorithm and the way they judge an ad. Their number one priority is to give the user a good experience. And so the more you can make the ad like a piece of content that they would engage with from a friend, the better. They will reward you for that. Obviously, it will resonate better anyway. So the algorithm will see that, wow, people are actually stopping to watch this video and they're clicking on read more, and they're, all those things make the ad, give the ad life. It'll take you 2 to 3 months to figure out if you've gotten that right. And so the other thing about doing Facebook ads is prepare to be patient and think of it as a 3-month test, just to train the algorithm to do what you're asking it to do. It's a lot of people say, yeah, I tried Facebook ad, it didn't work. Well, how long did you run it? A week? Oh no, well, you didn't try a Facebook ad. And so again, all things we wouldn't know until somebody tells us. So thanks for sharing that, Michelle. Also, by the way, Mike Renard is an amazing copywriter expert on this. And I love that he's very passionately sharing about this new iOS update that I'm sure you've all heard about, that really is going to change the landscape of how Facebook gets to advertise. Because essentially, your iPhone will no longer automatically allow you to be tracked all around the internet because you clicked on something or showed interest in it. You'll now have to tell your phone that you want to allow that to happen, and that is going to greatly change how Facebook gets to operate. And so now your ads are going to have to be all the more on target, written very specifically for your avatar in a powerful way, because you're going to have less shots to get in front of people, because you're not going to get to follow them all around anymore in some instances. So it's good news for you if you're a copywriter or marketing expert who helps people really understand their avatar and write to that person with a strong voice. That is a huge advantage. You should definitely be using that in your marketing. Let people know that, hey, this is one of my expertise, and you may have heard it's super important right now in the world of Facebook marketing. So by the way, we just did a really fun training inside of Copy Chief called the Mind Reader Copy Method. That was all about identifying your avatar and defining your avatar and writing to that avatar. Really, really fun training with an exercise and workshop. So if you're a member and you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out, because it's never been more relevant than right now. And if you're not a member, you should become a member and check out that training, so you can instantly tell people, hey, I'm an expert on how to write to your best avatar. And something you're missing right now. Let's hear from Angie Colee to share a best thing. Angie is our queen and ambassador inside of Copy Chief. She is by my side so often when I'm coaching. She's a member of the super group. I can't be a bigger fan of Angie. We've sung on stage together. What haven't we? We're all but married, Angie. It's just an exciting relationship we have.
The only thing that we haven't done together is jump off a mountain, which I did with a bunch of other members of the super group, but not with Kevin.
That's true. I did not make the Cambodia trip, but very
Colombia.
exciting. Colombia, sorry.
Different side of the
let's
world.
go to Cambodia. What the hell are we waiting for?
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. All right. That's on the list for when things open up again and we have defeated the COVID. Let's do that. So the best thing that I learned this week is kind of a lesson that I have to relearn every once in a while. And so I just want to frame that, because all entrepreneurs go through that. Like, I've learned all my lessons, and then you get knocked back down and you go, oh, apparently I need a refresher. So I wanted to talk to you about the power of speaking what you want to other people and not just letting your dreams sit in your head to be crushed by all the doubts and anxieties and worries that are constantly going on. So as you may know, shameless plug, I recently started a podcast. Kevin's episode is dropping in a few weeks. Alix's has gone out. It's fantastic. I'm loving it.
It's called Permission to Kick Ass. So please search for it wherever you enjoy podcasts. Yes.
Yes. And I was talking to the supergroup recently about, how do I get the word out? Okay, there's so many different possibilities for advertising, send it out through my list. What do I do? And it didn't occur to me until I asked for help on that. How do I get the word out? How do I get my name out as somebody to listen to for podcasts and somebody to go to for coaching? And everybody was like, why don't you go on more podcasts? I was like, why don't I go on more podcasts? Okay, how do I get on more podcasts? And then as soon as I asked that, Kevin said, hey, come on Copy Chief Radio. Rachel Mazza said, hey, come on Business of Writing. And then I got like 3 more podcast invitations just from the wilds. And so if you are struggling with bringing this vision, this dream that you have to reality, then consider speaking about your dreams and your goals and your desires to the people around you, because you never know who may be in a position to be able to help right now, can connect you to someone, can basically get you that much closer to the dream just for having the bravery to say it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Angie. Wow. And by the way, that's a great sample of what you can expect to hear Angie talking about on her podcast, Permission to Kick Ass. Angie is, it's been such a thrill to watch her. I don't want to call it an evolution. It is an evolution, but the reason Angie is such an amazing authority on owning your shit is because that's been one of the things that she's been challenged by the most. And now that she understands that it's very common for people to deal with that, because she coaches so many people, she has permission to share that and be transparent. And she's just a natural coach and teacher in regards to, she doesn't just tell you a story. She says, here's what to do if you're feeling that way. Here's something I did. Here's the very next step, right? So often people want to give you this 10-point plan, and you're going, man, I don't, I just need the next point. Angie's got a unique gift for saying, I get you, and here's your next mile marker. Let's get there. And then you'll feel better about this, and we can help you get further down the road. Fantastic. Permission to kick ass. Speaking of journeys and that, I really quickly want to share with you let me find it. A little bit about oh, cool. These are my slides for RFL. You were talking about manifesting and setting intentions. And one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is, how do we do that with our financial goals? And I want to quickly show you, this is a little bit of insight into RFL, and one thing an exercise we do in there. This is $100,000 bill. You couldn't bring it to the bank and have them hand you smaller bills that equal $100,000. It's a token, if you will. And one thing we do in the first session of RFL is we think about what we want our new monthly income to be. And now, so this is the reason I use this $100,000 bill example, because this is the actual $100,000 bill I created years ago when I started my freelance career. And I thought about, I was very into, there was a book and movie called The Secret. You may know about it. It was very popular, took the world by storm when it came out. And, you know, and since then, some people who were featured experts in there have been placed in prison. Although, you know, but most of them were really fantastic. And I've worked with some of them, like Dr. Joe Vitale, who's an amazing person. Anyway, point is, the one thing I really took from The Secret, which was very much about, you know, instructing your subconscious and getting past limiting beliefs and manifesting great things in your life, was make a bill to declare your new income. And so when I started writing, this came out when I was just transitioning out of my day job and into freelancing. So this is probably around 2000, I don't know, 3, 4, somewhere in there, 5, 6, I don't know. And so I made this bill. I said, I want to make $100,000 as a freelance copywriter. And I thought about it and said it, and I sort of tucked the bill away. And then I went about the business of getting busy as a freelancer, kind of working really hard and making some mistakes. But the good news was I was staying booked and being able to charge incrementally more as the year went on. And when I looked up and it was December and it was time to start getting my sort of taxes ready, I said, gee, I wonder how much I made this year. And I remembered the bill. I had it sort of out and where I could see it. So I was always conscious of the goal. And I did the math and I made $97,300. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't quite get over that mark, but I just knew there would have been no way that I would have gotten that close if I hadn't started with that intention, you know? And have you ever done that where it's like you set a goal to do a certain thing and you meet it almost exactly, and you go, huh, wow. And then you go, and then, so of course, then you say, well, what if it was higher? You know, what if instead of 20, I would have said 50, or, you know, and so obviously, you know, when it comes to, you know, pricing yourself and all these things, there has to be a strategy, but so much of it is simple math when you know. And so the reason we do it in RFL monthly instead of yearly is because the year can get foggy. You know, I know that I would have surpassed that amount if I would have knocked that down into monthly goals, say 8,500 a month, and measured month by month. Did I get just under? Did I get just over? Where am I? If I was tracking it all the way, I would have probably changed my price. I would have raised my prices a little bit to meet that, right? And I definitely would have gotten over that mark. And so one thing I'll have you do, whether or not you're joining us in RFL, is to just really focus on, first of all, take assessment of your current monthly revenue from your money skill and know the number. That's something not everybody does often enough. Break it down to the effective hourly rate and ask yourself, how do I fill the gap between where I am now and what I need to do next? Maybe it's adding a new service. Maybe it's raising your fee with just one client, and probably that's overdue for that conversation. You know, it's probably, the answer is probably right in front of you. And so it really comes down to just taking assessment, because so often as freelancers, especially if you're in phase like 3 or 4, where you've proven the model and you've gotten busy, we just get stuck doing. Our job was to get yeses, and we're getting yeses, and things become transactional. We get on these calls and we want to close these deals, and we want to get another yes. And then we hang up and we feel more overwhelmed. We're like, it was great to get a yes, and I'm getting pretty good at getting these yeses, but it's getting really hard to deliver all this work. And I'm pushing outside of the agreement I made to how many hours I want to put in this. But maybe I should just be lucky to have the work, right? There's other people going, how can you complain? I wish I had that much work, but they don't know what you know, and they're not you, and they're not having to work 7 days a week or whatever, so we got to stop at some point along this freelance journey and say, all right, whoa, if I've created a job for myself that I'm not enjoying and I'm the boss, we got a problem here. We got to talk to this boss. We got to bring in some other voices to talk to this boss about what they're having us do. You got to just put different hats on and work it out. And so, it really helps to have a plan to do that and to break it down, because, when how to move forward and grow our business is like a foggy notion, it's never going to get solved, right? If it's just, you owe it to yourself as a business owner, as a human being, you owe it to your family, the other people that your busyness affects, to stop and take assessment and decide what it needs to be, because it can be that. That's the thing. Too many of it took me too long to realize, is like, I get to decide what this is. I don't just have to, my job isn't only to kick ass for the people who are willing to pay me anymore. I've figured that part out, but it's killing me. So now I got to figure out, what is my offer? What is my package? Who's my best client? What's going to make me wake up, look at my calendar and go, awesome. Oh, I can't believe I get to do this all day, rather than, oh my God, how am I going to get this done? I'm going to have to work Saturday again, all right. That's what we do. Yeah. Rachel Kraft just bought a house because she went through these exercises and made these choices and defined that amazing bat signal of lead magnets. By the way, Rachel, that was one thing that came up. This client I was talking to earlier was lead magnets. And I was like, I know who you're going to end up with doing that. All right, let's talk to our great friend, Cindy Childress. And let's focus on story. Man, so much of what we do comes back to story. And we all agree that story is important, and that we love to tell stories, and that our clients need to tell better stories. But it's not a vague notion anymore of, what does it mean to tell great stories and to be a writer of great stories? So much of it is about helping yourself choose better stories, helping your clients choose better stories. And so I'm thrilled to have the great Cindy Childress here joining us. If you can unmute Cindy, we'll have a chat. And there she is in her office, always looking put together, always live mic ready. Hi, Cindy. How are you?
Yes, I am great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. And it's great to see you again. I'm very excited about this workshop that you're doing. Pick up where I'm sort of, starting this conversation with stories. Again, you write for major authors as a ghostwriter. You help other experts define themselves. What have you learned about telling the right story?
Yeah, telling the right story is the difference between being forgettable and being memorable and known for whatever your amazing idea is. And I think, the easiest way to look at that, and I know because a lot of copywriters are really interested in psychology and kind of how the brain works and how that factors into buying and how words can encourage people to do that. And the thing is, when you're telling a story and you want it to be memorable, you have to use evocative, specific, descriptive words, because what happens there is those words are anchors. And in the reader's mind, they're going to take what you are sharing and they're going to connect it to where those word anchors already are in their emotional memory. Because we forget things that we don't care about. We remember things we care about. So that's your emotional memory. And so when you tell a story that means something to you, that is emotionally engaging to yourself, and you tell it in a way with those specific details, and also taking the reader on a very curated journey from start to finish, then you're going to be creating that emotional experience for themselves. And when this is done really well, they may even have a transformation themselves just from reading your words. And the benefit there is the next time they have that feeling or engage with that topic again, you are like muscle memory.
Yeah, that's so true. And I always talk about the mental Rolodex that people who get asked a lot for copywriters, myself, Rachel, Angie, all the leaders in Copy Chief, we're always what we call bat signaling each other, because we have a mental Rolodex of who are the people we know that are great at doing the thing someone's asking me for. And like you said, Cindy, when you are able to define that and back that up consistently, you'll always be the top of people's mental Rolodexes to recommend.
I love that. And another way you can use the Rolodex analogy, and this is part of the purpose of Success Story, the course that I have coming up, is that when you choose for yourself the stories that you're asked to tell over and over again. So for me, how did you become a ghostwriter? Well, that could become 2 hours of drivel if I hadn't really worked on what that story is and being able to deliver it in a quick bite, like on a podcast interview, so people get the gist and remember it and just want to know more.
That's so right. Exactly. Because, we get so excited. We have so much to share. It's been our expertise for so long. That was, again, the really striking thing about the meeting I had earlier. It was like we were both there with very clear intentions. And although we could have went down so many side roads to bond and talk, we were both conscious of the strict 30-minute meeting time and knew we had an agenda to solve together. And it was, it's exciting, isn't it? It's kind of like being on I don't know, like a ride or a game show almost, or a quiz show. It's like, you don't want to I don't know, but if you ever, I've been watching a lot of Jeopardy lately, even the older ones with Alix Trebek are on Netflix now. And my wife is always watching the show when I come to bed. And so it's amazing to watch a Jeopardy contestant. The winners are the ones who are just like cool under fire, right? It's the ones who are like, and you're like, oh, this person's in trouble. just like learning to be, when you're confident in what you want to say, you can say it in a way that feels natural, even though it's really rehearsed for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And even in sales conversations, when you find someone who's a great candidate for a specific offer, instead of just telling them what it is and kind of talking at them, if you can tell them a brief story about another person who came to you who wanted that exact thing and how pleasant it was to work together and how excited they were with their results, you're story selling.
I love that, story selling. And again, Angie was talking earlier about getting on podcast, and I can tell you from personal experience, that is the thing that will have you really hit a home run on a podcast, is telling good stories, short stories that exemplify, give an anecdote, whether it's about you or somebody else. That is how people remember and respond, like Cindy said. So Cindy, I know you've also got a workshop starting, I believe, Monday. I think both of our programs kick off at the same time. Yours is specifically about helping people understand how to choose these stories and tell them well. Yeah.
Yes, it is a 6-week story writing class. It's going to be not conflicting with RFL on the timing. So it's Tuesday evenings, 6 to 7 Central. And each week I'll be teaching a different creative writing tool from fiction writing that you can apply to your own real life personal stories. And there's also a brainstorming activity for those specific details that I mentioned before that are so important, because we don't tend to remember things like a movie and we write it in the first draft and everything's exactly like it happened. It tends to come out in fragments. So what I do is recognize that process. Then I give you the brainstorming. So we get all the fragments out of memory first. Then we go into the drafting where you take all those building blocks and create your story using the narrative arc framework.
I love it. So, you know, to me, that's always so effective when you're taking a proven model and showing it to people and they recognize it. They go, I've read that book. I didn't even know that was a formula, but I get why that's effective because I've had it effective on me. And then you go, okay, now we're going to do it for you. And it's exciting because you now have the confidence that you're doing something that you know works. I love that you're teaching it that way. That's super cool. So 6 weeks, you start Monday, and stories.com. What's the URL?
Sure. The easiest thing to do is go to my website, cindychildress.com, and you will find the link to the course.
Awesome. Cool. I know you're going to over deliver for everybody who joins it. And thanks for sharing a little bit about how to think about stories with us today. And we've got some workshops planned with you inside of Copy Chief coming up as well. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
All right, Cindy, we'll talk soon. Awesome. All right. Well, here we are at the top of the hour, and a lot of stuff today. Love being surrounded by these brilliant minds, sharing really proven effective stuff. So I noticed in the, oh, cool. Victoria just took Cindy's quiz. Yeah, the quiz is fantastic. Go to cindychildress.com and take Cindy's quiz. That alone helps you understand, gives you some personal insight to how you could be telling stories more effectively. Really cool. Carmen, welcome. I see in the comments that you just joined RFL. That's fantastic. It's great to have you in with us, and we're going to be like new best friends over the next 8 weeks because I get to know everybody. That's why we keep it super limited to about 30 people. And you'll now be joining the great history of RFL, 100 or so of the smartest, most successful freelancers in the business who will now consider you like family, people who have done so many projects together and referred each other and brought each other in on projects. I'm really excited to have you join us. Sounds like it's a perfect fit for you. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me today. Thanks for being members of Copy Chief. Or even if you're not a member yet and you're listening to the podcast, Copy Chief Radio, however you're consuming all that I have to share, I appreciate it. You inspire me. I love hearing from you. Just thanks for giving me this platform to be able to hopefully help you do better work and feel great about doing it. So I appreciate you. Thanks everybody, all our guests today, Michelle, Alix, Angie, Cindy, appreciate you all. And we'll see you guys inside. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.